Hi there, Bradley from B-Rad TV here. Still in New York, just got in from the cold and wet and I had to go into Starbucks and just say, can I have a hot drink that tastes like Christmas? What ones have you got? Because I'm not really good at Starbucks. It's a caramel one, lovely and warm. And I've just come in here, cranked the heating up. In case you're wondering why I'm sat in bed with a t-shirt on and a coffee, but I'm fine, I'm warm. This video, I just want to talk about only looking at the positive and how you can make things work for you. Now, this is definitely not a case of rose-tinted spectacles, if you've heard that, just living in a dream world and thinking everything's great. I heard a really great quote about positive thinking as a whole. I can't remember where I heard it, but it was that lots of positive thinking things, they sort of give you advice that's the equivalent of walking through a field full of weeds and looking up and saying, there are no weeds, there are no weeds, there are no weeds, just trying to deny the world that's all around you, which of course is delusional, and it's not going to practically help you improve your life and escape that field of weeds. When I say only look at the positives, any situation you find yourself in, the only thing you should be concerned with is how you can make that work for you. Now this, I've said all my funny videos, this is the most powerful thing I've ever learned, ever developed, and I feel like I have a superpower because of it. Any situation that comes along, I only look at how can I make this work for me. Even if it's an absolute poo sandwich I'm getting fed by life. Life is serving me up a real dose of something unpleasant. No matter how bad it gets, the only way I view that is how can I make this work for me. So it doesn't matter how dire, how bad it is, even if I get upset, even if I cry, even if I stop going to the gym, start drinking a bit more, all of that, I'm very good and don't do that very much anymore. Even if it got that little bit bad, I know in my head about that situation, it's only temporary, and I'm thinking of how can I make that work for me. And I see so many people and speak to so many people that moan and complain and say, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that, this happened, this happened, this happened, blah, blah, blah. And then I come along and I'm buzzing and whatever. And they sort of ask me how, and I say, well, I only look at what's good. Why would on earth would I just sit there and dwell on the negative? And you can see how this is totally different to walking around thinking there are no weeds, there are no weeds, oh, happy thoughts, happy thoughts. Because it's not denying that there's bad stuff going on, it's acknowledging it and facing it head on, looking at it in the face and thinking, right, this has happened, how can I make this work for me? Even something as silly as this morning is chucking it down with rain. I just embraced it, went and got a poncho, went and got a cheap poncho, cheap umbrella, and I've just gone out and I've done 3 videos in the rain, even though I've been a bit lazy, like slack with it lately. I've just gone out there and just done that. But it's sort of how I work as well with my own work and creative work. It's never Monday to Friday. It's all over the shop and when I have to do things. So whatever sort of shift, whatever sort of pattern I end up working in, if I'm working through the night or if I'm working 24 hours or if I'm not getting sleep or anything like that, I'm looking at how can I make this work for me. Night shifts, oh, I get the day off, whatever. I can do things during the day. If I work half a day, I get half a day off. If I end up travelling somewhere for a length of time and I'm not at home to be with family and friends and sort things out I need to back home, in my mind it's that, wow, if I get a chance to have time off, I'm getting a holiday. I'm getting a holiday. I get to experience more and go on an adventure. Not only that, I'm travelling and meeting people. Even with work, I don't see it as like work, like I don't view work like I used to. I guess it's I enjoy what I do, but it's about meeting people and making friends. That sounds sad and stupid, but it's about meeting people and experiencing life and opening myself up to the world. Oh, that is good. That is good. It's like, how could I make this rainy, cold day, or I had like plans and things I wanted to do, how can I make this work for me? And I've like made more videos today than I have in the past couple of weeks. And like, now I'm warm, now I'm toasty, and I'm enjoying a drink. It's all good. Whereas I could have woken up and thought, oh man, it's raining. Oh, it's colder than I thought it was going to be. Oh God, I'm just going to go get a burger. I'll go sit in a pub, or I'll go lounge out and watch a movie and won't do anything. Relax, enjoy yourself, yeah, but I mean, don't do it all the time, obviously. But I'm so glad that I've got this little mindset. How can I make this work for me? A more serious example would be, say, I'm renting a little tiny single room. And at first it was sort of just out of necessity. I just needed someone, so I got this thing. But now, I could save so much money by renting this unbelievably tiny little room that you've probably seen in my other videos, that I literally have suitcases squashed up in the room, stuff in one little corner, piled up that I have to move trying to work out on the floor. But I've made that work for me to the point where the old me would have been really sort of upset, and maybe every day you'd wake up miserable and think, oh God, look where I am. But then I guess hopefully I would have changed it. That's the thing, I've developed to a point where if it got that bad I would change it. Maybe old me wouldn't have, would have put up with it and become really miserable. But I've made that work for me, and now it's like I only look at the positives. You could literally list the bad things. I don't have my own place. I can't just invite people over, have parties, can't crank up the... I could literally write pages and pages about bad things, but I don't even think about them. I think these are things I haven't even thought about in ages. But I could write a million times more positive things and how I've made it work for me. And then, of course, if the bad did outweigh the good, I would just make a choice and move somewhere else. That's just like a more serious example. And say the videos I did, like the 3 months with no alcohol and working out my room and that, when I got physically sick and unfit, really, belly hanging over my trousers at the end of last year. Am I doing okay now? Yeah, we're doing okay now, so I'm fine at the moment. Still got some muscle, that's good. That video, I literally thought, how can I make this work for me? Literally, I was in physically the worst state I'd been in years, really bad that I got to that point. But not only I think, how can I make this work for me to get physically fitter, but I did the best series of, say, alcohol-free fitness nutrition videos I did, and even wrote a book that you could download on Amazon. If you check out my YouTube thing, the B-Rad bedroom body book, the video on my homepage, the finale of the 3-month thing. So it turned from being one of the worst things, I spun that round, and a few months later, it's one of the best things I've done as of late that I'm still super proud of. And that just comes from, how could I make this work for me? It would have been so easy for me to, when I got to that point, to go even further. I dread to think. It doesn't even bear thinking about, to be honest. But I stopped and I thought, how can I make this work for me? So how could you apply that in your life? Whatever's going on, whatever's gone wrong, that's the thing. This isn't so much when things are going well, obviously, it's when things go wrong. Don't sit there and think about all the bad things. Obviously you're aware they exist, that's how you know you want to change, but flick on this superpower that I'm giving you, I'm sharing you, this B-Rad superpower, this unbelievable life hack that is going to change your world. How can I make this work for me? Yeah. So examples of this, I guess, if you're in a job you hate and you work with people that you don't get on with, it doesn't matter how zen you are and how at peace with yourself, reckless hate exists in this world and you're never going to get on with everybody. So this can happen, even with me this might happen. But it's if you're in a job and you're not getting on with people, how can I make this work for me? You'd have to start realising, right, these aren't the sort of people I want to be with. Then you start thinking about the people you do want to be with. Then you start thinking about aspects of the job that you don't like, and you'd start thinking about what aspects would you change. Then you'd start thinking about what jobs have those aspects that you like. And then from that you could get a whole new list of jobs. I know it's not you click your fingers and you walk out of your job and you're in it, but feel good in the fact that you're making this change, you're taking those steps forward. And that comes from, how can you make it work for you? So when you're in this bad, horrid situation that you don't like, take note of what you don't like to figure out what you do like. And then already you're on this first step of this positive journey, and that's the main thing. It's getting you going and knowing you've got the tools to do it. You're essentially in that bad situation, learning what you don't like. So that's like, it sounds silly, but that's a massive positive. You're learning what you don't want in your life, and from that you figure out what you do want, and then over time you work, you change, you make decisions and go towards it, and you get that life slowly that you want. I'm sure I could think of more examples, I've put my mind to it, but the whole point of this is that you don't need it now. That is the ultimate superpower, what I've described here, the ultimate positive thinking tool. Only look at the positives, only look at what benefits you in a situation, and just think, how can I make this work for me? And then any situation you find yourself in is a positive. Any situation. And someone can say, oh, how's it going for you? How's it going for you? And rather than be one of the people that turn around and say, oh, I've got this, I'm dealing with this, I'm with this, you can turn around and say, oh, I have this. This works for me. I'm doing this. And now I'm going here and I'm working on this. And that will change your mindset, it will change your thinking, and then taking action from that, it will change your life. How can I make this work for me? That's my gift for you today, guys. I think that's a good one. I think I'm so proud that I sort of found this and learned this and thought about this. How can I make this work for me? Take care, guys. Look after yourselves and be rad.